Hey guys, story time on the time I was 8 years old. I got kidnapped. I came out in the news, and it was a guy who was attacking little girls in K-Town. Trigger warning, this story is very, very sensitive, and I'm going to be very, very vulnerable, but I'm only sharing it because I've done years of therapy. I've healed from my experiences, and I would just like to share some awareness. So, just to give you guys a little background, I used to walk alone to school every single morning. It was very normalized back then, by the way. Now, don't let your kids walk by themselves. But yeah, I would walk to school by myself every single day. And this man in specific, I believe, was stalking me because I had seen him 2 days prior to the day of the incident. So I lived in a building with 4 apartments. There was 2 upstairs, there was 2 downstairs. I lived in the upstairs one. The way the building worked, it's like you have to get out of the main door. And I remember that the first time I ever saw this man was in front of my building to the right-hand side in his motorcycle. I think he stood out to me because he was just there in his bike. He didn't have kids with him. He wasn't doing anything. He was just sitting in his bike. So he did catch my attention that first time I ever saw him. But as usual, I walked to school. The second time I saw him was when I opened the front door to the building. He was standing there and he didn't say anything. I walked right past him and I went to school as normal. Now, the third time I saw him was when I opened the door to my apartment and he was standing right there in front of me. Now, this man acted very friendly and he said, hey, I know you go to the elementary school down the street. I was wondering if you were kind enough to walk with my daughter. That way she doesn't walk by herself. I just want to make sure that she gets to school safely. And I remember being like, and he's like, I'll pay you. I'll give you some money. I really just want my daughter to have a companion while she walks to school. Keep in mind, we're walking downstairs. And he's like, I live right next to you. So I'm your neighbor. And really, I just want you to do me the favor. And now thinking back, really don't talk to strangers because I definitely talk to strangers. And we were standing in front of the building that's next to us, right? And this man was pretending like he was on the phone. Like, kid you not, you guys, he grabbed his phone, he called, and he would be like this. And then it would ring, and then he'd be like, oh, she's not answering, let me try again. And he'd do it again, and she wouldn't answer. And he's like, I don't know, maybe she can't see the phone. Maybe, he's like, how about, do you mind if you come upstairs with me so we can get her? And then you guys can walk to school. I remember that building is the type that either you need to have a key to enter through the main entrance or have someone buzz you in. He didn't have either. The way we went into this building was because someone was coincidentally coming out and he held the door and he's like, come on in. I went in, and when we went into the elevator, I think that's when my instinct kicked in and I was like, you're in danger. Like, this doesn't feel safe. This doesn't feel good. Like, I was already like So yeah, I was very alarmed. But at the same time, I just kept giving this man the benefit of the doubt, thinking like, okay, he has a daughter. Like, I'm trying to help him. And kid you guys not, we went to like the 8th floor and we were walking right by the apartments. Like, it's so crazy to me. Like, I know this apartment building and I do not live here. But we were walking by the apartments and he takes me to this corner that kind of leads to, the door says no entry. This is the door to the rooftop. So I was like nearly the rooftop. And this is where I knew I was fucked. He had locked me in. So behind me is the door that you cannot open. And in front of me, he's in the staircase, blocking me for being able to leave. And he goes, take off your backpack. I'm going to take a picture of you. That itself was like, oh my God. Little me was like, you're in danger. Like I said, this man came off to be very kind, very normal. And I think that when he told me to take the picture, I noticed his whole persona switched in a second because I did not smile, right? I did not smile. And he goes, smile. I told you to smile. And I faked the smile. He takes a picture of me. And then he goes, take off your sweater. I'm going to take another picture of you. At this point, you guys, I am begging him. Like, I'm literally on the floor like this, begging him, please leave me alone. Please don't hurt me. Please let me go. It was like, I was like alarmed, and I knew I was in danger, and I knew I needed to get out of there. But I'm going to have to do a part 2 because this video is really long.
Okay, story time of how I found out that my ex cheated on me with my friend at the New Year's Eve party that I invited her to, picked her up, and drove her to. Ooh, I'm scared! Hold on, I need to block a few people really fast. I do want to start by saying absolutely no hate to this old place. I worked there for a long time. These people are still my family. Some of my closest friends still work there, and I really do love and care for all of them. So, to paint the picture, my ex and I had been through some ups and downs, but I thought we were actually at a really good point in our relationship. Obviously I was wrong, but... So, the three of us all worked together, and this girl that I had invited, I was pretty good friends with her. We would go out together, we'd drink, we'd talk about our relationship. She knew everything that I had going on with this guy, and I genuinely never, ever had a bad word to say about her. I really thought that she was just the kindest, most caring girl. She was great. We had a really good girl friendship, which is why this shocked me so hard. So us three met up with a bunch of our other coworkers, and we were all there at the restaurant to celebrate New Year's Eve. So to make this even worse, my ex's dad was my boss, and that boss was co-owners with this girl's boyfriend, if that makes sense. So if this didn't happen, this would have been a wonderful night. I was having a great time. I was talking to people. My best friends were bartending. My favorite band was playing. It was amazing. And I was having so much fun that I didn't even notice that they had disappeared. So what I didn't know at the time is that while I was in the bar talking to friends and having a good time listening to music, on the other side of that wall was the office that they were hooking up in. I could have knocked on that wall and they would have heard me. So at this point, it's almost midnight, and obviously we all need to be in the bar to celebrate the new year together. So I go looking for them, and I had his location, so I checked his location, and I followed it, and he was, it looked like he was, like, out back where we would smoke and park our cars, and it looked like he was in my car, and so I was like, oh, okay, they're just in my car. There was a lot of party favors happening that night, so it wasn't unusual that he was in my car. So I ran up to my car, and I see them in there together, and it wasn't, like, no alarm bells, no red flags, nothing was going off for me. Poor thing, I was oblivious, because it never would have occurred to me that they would do that to me. So part of the audio that I didn't add into my last video was a part where my ex had said, Sky even ran up to the car looking for us, and we had our pants unbuttoned, and we were making out, and she almost caught us. As we were all walking back into the restaurant, I joked with my ex, and I said, caught you guys in my car, what were you guys doing? Completely joking. I was onto something. We go back in, clock strikes midnight, we're celebrating. I've got my friend next to me, my ex that just cheated on me with my friend next to me. So that night, it was a late night, we went home, and he slept in my bed with me. The next morning, I wake up to this text. So much fun. I think I blacked out. Did I do anything embarrassing? Diabolical. Yeah, I could think of one thing. I'm thinking, oh my god, this poor girl's got anxiety. I had no idea at this point. And so I Uber back to my car to pick it up, and obviously I go in, I have a drink, my friend is bartending, I'm talking to her, and this girl walks in. She walks in. She runs up to me, because she's working. She runs up to me. She gives me a hug. She gives me a hug. So after that, I head home, and my ex had already left for work. I had a Ring camera inside my house. I had it long before I started dating him, and I had it because I lived alone, and I have a dog, and I would leave her home alone when I go to work. So I just used it to keep an eye on her. If you've ever been cheated on, this is the first man that's ever cheated on me. I've never had to deal with this before. I've never felt these feelings before, but if you've ever been cheated on, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. It is probably the most like downgrading, humiliating feeling ever. And so when I heard that, go to my last video to hear the audio of what he said to his friend, bragging about it, and the way that he talked about this girl. It's just gross. It's just horrible. You can imagine the way that I was feeling. My heart just sunk. I kept re-listening to it. I kept turning the volume up. I'm thinking maybe I missed something. Like, I was just completely and utterly shocked. I didn't know what to do. Obviously, in my head, I'm thinking, there's no way that our relationship could ever recover from this. Like, there's absolutely no coming back from this. So I'm at home and I pack up all of his stuff into garbage bags and I deep clean my house. I deep clean my house so that I can have a nice, cozy place to come home to. I'm not even thinking about the girl. I'm just thinking about myself and my relationship. And I needed to deal with that first before I even talked. Well, I head down to the bar that we all worked at with his trash bags in the back of my car. Which, looking back, I could have been so much more mean. I could have done so much worse. I know that I didn't handle everything the way that I could have. I could have done a lot better in a lot of different ways. But I think that I handled it as maturely as I could have with what I... So I'm at the bar, I sit down, I get a beer. I'm really good friends with my manager. I tell her what's going on, what the situation is. I tell the bartender, I know everybody in this restaurant, everybody knows me. So basically, everybody in this restaurant knows what's going on besides him. And I ran back to the kitchen, I took my key off of his keychain so that he didn't have a key to my house. So after he got off, he sat down at the bar with me and we had a couple drinks. After that, I cashed out for my drinks and he said, all right, let's go home. And I said, I'm gonna go home. I don't know where you're... That's when I basically told him that I knew everything. Because if you're gonna cheat on me, I'm gonna find out about it. So I'm sure you can imagine that he denied the living shit out of it for about 20 minutes. And then he finally confessed. I wish I didn't do it at the bar. You know, there was nobody else there besides employees, and I'm sure they enjoyed the show, but I felt bad about putting certain people in that position, and that I know now. Something about watching a grown man walk down a dark street with trash bags full of everything he owns. It was maybe 3 trash bags, and that was everything he had to his name. I got in my car and I drove to a mutual friend's house. He had people over, everyone was hanging out, it was a good time, until my ex showed up at that house. And this guy that I had met because of my ex didn't want my ex there because I had told him everything that just happened. And so he picked me over him. Our friend was threatening to call the cops, and at that point, I just went home. And who showed up at my home? My ex. Banging on the windows, knocking on the door, shining a flashlight through the windows. I went to bed. So the next day is when I started having conversations with this girl, and she was doing the same thing. She was saying, you know, I don't think that happened, just didn't. So that's the phone call that I got that audio from. Okay, unfortunately there's a lot more to this story and I'm running out of time. I tried to make it quick. If you have been in a similar situation, please let me know how you handled it, how you dealt with it, what you did. If you are in my position, I want you to know that you can leave. I quit my job, I moved hours away, I live a completely different life now. I really hope that I can inspire other girls with my story, even though it was a pivotal point in my life and broke me so deeply. I made it out alive and there's a light at the end of the tunnel and I am so thankful for that. I'm so thankful for the life that I live now. Okay, thanks, bye!
This is the other POV from my atrocious roommate story. We did not know each other before we moved in, and we started talking like 2 months before we moved in. We met on Instagram. We started chatting, whatever, and we seemingly like had a lot of common interests. We seemed like we'd get along. We seemed like our personalities matched, but little did I know, I was actually in for the ride of my life. Possibly one of the worst friends I have ever met in my life. Let's get right into it. So, let me just give you a background. So, my roommate, we're gonna call her Sarah. Sarah, has a boyfriend, okay? She had a boyfriend from back home. Mind you, Sarah's boyfriend is 15 years old. She is 19, in college. So that's just a FYI for you. Yeah, 15 years old, dating 19-year-old in college, okay? Move in. We get along the first week. The second week, that's when stuff started to go down. I could kind of tell, like, within the first week that we weren't gonna, like, our personalities didn't match like they think they would. But I was like, you know, it'll get better once we get to know each other, it'll be fine. My roommate, Sarah, proceeds to leave every single weekend to go home to see her 15-year-old boyfriend. So that's fun, like, whatever. So we, like, weren't really close, because she was home all the time. She would never go out with us, which is whatever, like, that's fine if that's not your thing. Every single weekend would text me saying how, and accuse me of my friend, which is also kind of her friend at this point, stealing her stuff, using her stuff, sleeping in her bed. And I finally had to be like, listen, like, this is not happening. I don't know what you're talking about. It gets around and it comes back to me that my roommate was going to put thumbtacks in her bed while she was gone, to see that, so that if anyone laid in it, sat in it, did whatever, was gonna get stabbed by the thumbtacks. Like, hello? Got around that she was gonna do that. Don't know if she did, but that's just what she said she was gonna do. Behind us, I tried to put it in the past. I was like, I can't make my semester miserable, like, I gotta get along with this girl. So I put it all in the past. I tried to get along with her. We got along for a little bit, but, like, it was still, like, there was some tension in between us. After that whole thing went down, we had to have a meeting with our RA because she reported me or whatever. So we changed our roommate agreement. She wouldn't let anyone sit at her desk unless it was her. So if I had a friend over, God forbid, they sit in her desk. This is where it started to draw the line for me. Like I said, me and my roommate were not close. Like, we were not good friends. Literally, has cheated on her boyfriend 3 different times, or 4, throughout the semester. And I have proof. For all of you out there that don't believe us, saying that she cheats on her boyfriend, and he doesn't exist when she's here, I have proof. I'm just gonna include the proof right here, down below, for you guys to read. These were the text messages that she would send me when she'd want to go on 2-mans, or, like, hang out with these guys that we were hanging out with for a little bit. The text that she sent me, pause to read if you need her, because they find out she has a boyfriend, would literally cover up the pictures of her and her boyfriend in our dorm room so that these dudes could come over. So yeah, their dude comes along. They go to our room, I don't know, like 2-3 times a week. Time when I wasn't there, she had this dude over, and some girls from the building knocked on the door just to say hey, and she had this dude over, stuck him in the closet to hide him, that these girls did not see him, and then I don't know if she actually said this, but this is what she told me. She said that she was gonna blame it on me and say that I had somebody over. So immediate red flag, no. She would constantly ask me to lie for her if her boyfriend ever asked if she's cheating. Would always say, Vivi, you just have to cover for me. And I was like, of course, like I said, yeah, I will, but in my head I was like, no, I'm not doing that. You're not a good enough friend for me to be doing that. Like, yeah, I'll lie for my friends, but not for you. This went on for the entire semester. She literally has cheated so many times, whether that was over Snapchat or in person. So many times. That they broke up or whatever, but they were most definitely together. I lived with her, I think I would know. So then fast forward to, it was probably beginning of November. She said, I wish my roommate would Irish goodbye me. So I took that and I ran with it. My stuff, and I moved down to the basement where my other 2 friends live, and I stayed in their room all the time. I had all my clothes down there. I got ready down there, so she literally never saw me. Apparently that was an issue because I got a message from my RA that said, hey Vivi, can we meet? And I knew exactly what was happening. I said, hey Megan, like, what's going on? Like, why does the RA want to talk to me? And she's like, I don't know. And I was like, are you sure? And she left me on delivered, so I immediately knew. And so I texted her. I said, stop being immature. Tell me what I did before I go to this meeting so that we can try to resolve it. The issue I had with her, she would constantly, like, go tell the RA everything. She would never text me. She would immediately go to the RA. Like, she would never text me and be like, hey, like, this is the issue. Like, no, I never got that once. Like, she would go straight to the RA. And she finally texted me before my meeting and was like, I don't want to live with you anymore. Like, this isn't gonna work. It hasn't worked from day one. Then proceeds to say, the reason I want to move out with you is because you don't take the trash out. I looked at that and I laughed, because that's the reason you don't want to live with me, is because I don't take the trash out? Okay. My response to that was, listen, I'm not in the room. You literally have not seen me in weeks. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna take out your trash. It's not my job because I don't use the trash can. I'm never there to have any trash to take out, so no, I'm not gonna take the trash out. Yeah, that set me off. And then we had our final meeting with the RA and the hall director, and they said, I'll let you know. And here I am in my single room, moved to a different building. Much happier, by the way. Don't have to deal with any of that. Don't have to deal with her and her 15-year-old boyfriend. 15-year-old boyfriend. Yeah. Hides her men in the closet. It's on her boyfriend. Asked me to lie. That I don't take out the trash. Immature as hell. And then I move out, and she watches me move out, actually. She sits there in the corner and watches me move out. And makes a TikTok about me, which is why I'm following up with this video, because I'm not going to let her make a TikTok about me when she's the problem. This is my story time of how I've had an atrocious roommate. But don't worry, I'm much happier now.
Hello and welcome to part 1 of how I found out that my roommate and best friend was actually trying to home wreck my relationship throughout our entire friendship. Just to preface, I will only be using the names of people who consented. Everyone else will be referred to by a fruit, and then the girl this is all about will just be called the stalker. So me and the stalker had lived in the same town throughout our entire lives, but I did not know who she was until my senior year of high school, and that was because she came from her high school to my high school for these 2 AP classes. Throughout those classes, she never talked to me or anyone else. Then she followed me on socials and would slide up my stories, and we would have conversations. I added her on Snapchat. We started texting through there, and it wasn't until I think July 8th that we had hung out for the first time, and then we hung out again later on in mid to late July. Then we both went to KU. And both moved in a week early. I moved in early for Rush. She moved in early for this program called Jumpstart. She kept on posting about how she was meeting all these people and was having all this fun. And so I was asking her oh, can I come down and meet your new friends? I had lived at Self, which is at the top of the hill at KU, and everyone else lived in Naismith, which is at the bottom of the hill. I go down and I meet everyone, and we all had a wonderful time. Then in September-ish, I was hanging out with the stalker, Vanessa, and Kiwi, and we were all going to go out that night, but the stalker had some other plans, and so me and the 2 other girls, we were at the dining hall, and that is when Vanessa let it slip that allegedly the stalker had snapped my boyfriend. I took it as before I was dating him, which was August of 2024, that they had been snapped. So I text my boyfriend, and he's like, yeah, I mean, we texted for less than a week in, April of 2024. I went through all of the messages. It was literally the most normal thing ever. I wouldn't even call it talking. It was really platonic and normal. Mind you, he had never met the stalker in real life until he came up to Lawrence and was hanging out with me, and I decided to hang out with my friend Sam and the stalker. That was his first time meeting her. I was just okay, I wish you would have told me, and he's I just didn't really think it was something that notable. We had obviously discussed everyone that we had relationships with before, had talking stages with before, and she never made the cut because it was neither of those. In late September, the stalker, her roommate, drops out, and my roommate, this is a whole different story time in itself, but she would hoard and throw away the toilet paper that I bought. I bought everything for the dorm, and she was also just kind of a very awkward person. Her boyfriend was a very bizarre person, and he was over there a lot, and I just felt uncomfortable in my own dorm. And so I asked the stalker, kind of as a joke, oh, what if I moved in? And she was so excited. She's yes, please move in. And so I was okay. So I start moving into the stalker's dorm, and I kind of realized, I'm there is absolutely no space, which from the dorm that I was moving in Self, it was so small, and this one was absolutely huge. And so I kind of felt I was invading her space. So let me explain to you the layout of our dorm. So she had, as soon as we were moving in, she's telling me, she's I want this to be the hangout spot. I want everyone to be in here and everyone to be hanging out in our room. So I was okay, you know what? That works. Fine. I get it. I'm moving into your space. And despite me paying for it. So she had decided that, so there's two closets, right? Two huge closets. And one, she's going to have her desk, and that'll be her desk space. And there's also two shelves above, and she has both of those shelves. The other closet is going to be our communal closet where we have all of our tops. There's two shelves above. She gets one and I get the smaller one. And then my desk will be in the closet. I can't use it. And then our beds were shaped like this L shape, so we were like sleeping head to head every night. Underneath my bed was her like drawers that KU provides us, and then my drawers were where everyone was going to sit on. And then I brought a storage thing that we could both use for food. And then I had my own storage thing that had stuff like my underwear, love letters from my boyfriend, notes from my family, like very, very personal belongings. So basically I had no space. Oh, and also on the sink, so she gets two of the three drawers. And then on top of the sink, she gets the entire counter space. I had my toothbrush on there and that was it. Very soon she starts using all of my stuff. Like she was wearing all of my clothes every single day. I also didn't know this at the time, but friends had told me later that when they would be in the room and I wasn't, she would be going through my personal drawers, the same ones that have my underwear and stuff like that, seeing if there was something in there that she could borrow. Obviously, my friends didn't realize what it was that she was doing or that I would have been so uncomfortable by this. Mind you, I hardly wore any of her clothes because they were all 100% polyester from Shein, and that's not my vibe. But also at the same time, my boyfriend moves to Lawrence, and so I just figured that most of the time I can just spend time at his apartment. Another thing is I had classes every single day at 9 a.m. and she didn't have her classes until the afternoon, and she would be blasting her music on my speaker, would be playing stuff on her iPad, like was just very, very loud, would leave all the lights off even though I was obviously ready for bed. But anytime I was staying up later than her, she would immediately turn off all of the lights. One time I couldn't sleep, and she would listen to music while she slept, right? And it was playing out loud. I could hear it. And I would always have my earbuds in and I would just play my podcast and go to sleep. I couldn't go to sleep and I was sick of having the earbuds, like, because I have earbuds, so like I would wake up in the middle of the night, like strangled. I was playing at like 2 a.m. I was like, okay, I'm just going to play my podcast beside me very quietly, whatever. Wake up, go to class, don't see her until the afternoon, and I come back and Vanessa had said something about how she couldn't get any sleep last night because my podcast was so loud. Obviously, Vanessa has no clue that Miss Stalker over here is blasting her music. And then I found out from other friends that she had complained to them about how she couldn't sleep at all last night. I mean, which doesn't matter because she doesn't have a class until 12 because my podcast was playing so loudly and it woke her up. When I was apologizing to her, I'm like, I'm so sorry, I had no clue. She says, oh, it's fine. I could have went over and turned it off or put in my headphones. Thank you. Thank you. Wish you would have clarified that to other people as well. Other things is I would write all of her essays. If she had applications for things, like exec positions for different things, I would fill all of that out. She copied my resume. Like she asked me to send my resume, and she completely copied it. Same thing with LinkedIn. I would literally make her LinkedIn posts. And then when our other friends who were pre-med were asking about LinkedIn, she was like, oh yeah, you can look at mine, like it's really, really good. And same thing with my resume, it's really, really good. I wonder why. So basically, she just starts slowly morphing into me. She's wearing my clothes every single day, is wearing my jewelry every single day, wearing my accessories every single day. Not only that, but she started to say things that I would say all the time. So for example, I stim a lot. I'm on ADHD medication. I have ADHD. I was tested for autism as a kid because even back then, as a 2-year-old, my stimming was so bad. So I do these stims around her because we share the same room, and then she would go out and then would copy my stims despite her not having ADHD. Okay. And if you're wondering why I just let all of this stuff happen, it's because during the fact I didn't really see it as an issue. I was busy with my classes. I was a biology student. I was busy with stuff in my personal life. I'm typically a very confrontational and assertive person, but I just didn't, see these things as issues because she was my best friend and roommate. So in my mind, I'd create all these excuses for her and tell myself that I was crazy. And also the entire time I thought that I was infringing on her space. And I don't know why, but I had this idea that, I owed her something because she was so kind to let me live. And so many things too, like the fact that she was complaining to people about me waking her up with my podcast. I also didn't find out until after this whole thing happened. So that is where I'm going to leave it for now. And then next part, I'll get into the whole climax of the situation.
I want to tell you about my first ever real date.
It went so wrong. So bad. And don't worry, this isn't just gonna end with me being like, he asked me to split the bill. When I was 16, I was still closeted, so I was still open to dating guys. I was still trying to convince myself, honestly, that I liked guys. I worked food service, and it was a place where you could walk in and order, and so there were a lot of younger guys that would come in, a lot of teenage guys that would come in. My pole game there was like low-key crazy. I always found that so funny, even while it was happening, because it was like I was wearing such an ugly uniform and like visor and like apron, and guys were still flirting with me. Anyways, one night during a rush, I like took a bunch of orders in a row, like there was a long line, and then I went back to like doing my job at the expo or whatever after taking orders. And this guy comes up to the counter after I took his order, and then he asks to see me. Like, he asked one of my coworkers if he could talk to me specifically. I didn't immediately grasp that like this guy wanted to specifically talk to me because he thought I was pretty. I just assumed that like my coworker came up to me and like asked me to go and deal with like a customer issue. I thought this guy was hot, okay? I thought he was attractive, but obviously I'm at work, I'm not gonna flirt with him, but then he asks me for my number. So obviously I gave it to him. He puts his name and his number into my phone, and then he texts me so that way we both have each other's numbers. Later that night, after I get off work, I'm texting him, and then he asks me on a date, like pretty much right off the bat. Like we'd maybe exchanged like 2 texts, and then he already asked me on a date. At that time, I didn't really find that weird because like I hadn't been dating anybody. Like again, this was my first date, like besides like middle school dates, which aren't really like real dates. I didn't really ask him much about himself, which is like something that I'm definitely more careful about now, is like if I'm actually like trying to coordinate like an official date with somebody, is like I try to find out like a little bit about them first. But the thing is like I was too nervous to like ask him like any questions, so instead I go on this deep dive and I find out that he doesn't have any social media. At least if he does have social media, it's not linked up to like his real first and last name or anything like that. The one detail he gave me is that he told me which school he goes to, like so I knew that he was in high school. When I was searching on Google, I saw that he used to play football, and so I was like, okay, like he's real, like this is a real person, like he's not sketchy as far as I can tell. I come to the conclusion that it's a good idea to go on this date because he's cute and like he's around my age and like I think it'll be fun. He just asked me to go to the movies, so it was also gonna be like somewhat chill. That's what I thought. Anyways, subtle foreshadowing. One thing about this guy is that he was pretty forward. Like, obviously, he was willing to come up to me at work and, like, ask for my number. And then when we're texting, the day of the date, like, rolls around, and he asks me, what's your address? And I was like, why? And he's like, I want to pick you up. Like, I'm gonna come pick you up. Very much so, like, he was in charge. Like, which is, like, attractive to an extent, but it was also, like, I don't want you to pick me up. Like, I don't know you. That might come as a shock based on, like, some of my other stories and, like, things that I say offline as well, is it's, like, people would never assume that I would be the shy type when it comes to dating now. Like, the other day, I was telling somebody about, like, recent dates and stuff that I've been on and recent hangouts and stuff, and she's like, do you get bolder as you get older? Because, like, I would never do that. Like, now I'm very much so, like, a more forward person, but at the time, I was, like, shy, and I was like, this is my first date, like, I'm nervous, and also, like, I just didn't really want him to know, like, where I live. I basically tell him that I'm gonna have my friend drop me off. My mom was dropping me off, but, like, I didn't want to tell him that. Like, I was low-key embarrassed. I couldn't drive when I was 16. My mom brings me to the theater and then drops me off, and this guy is still in his car. Like, he texts me, and he's like, I'm in my car, like, describing the car, whatever. And then I walk up to it because he's still in his car. And I'm like, hey, and he's like, get in. And I'm like, okay. We're at the theater, like, why am I getting in your car, ? Nonetheless, I get into the car, and then he starts driving, and I'm like, what are we doing? So he's driving, and I'm like, where are we going? And he's like, oh, we're just going to the gas station, like, we're gonna get snacks there, like, they're so expensive at the movie theater, like, we're just gonna get the snacks at the gas station. He's like, I'm gonna put them in my sweatshirt so that way they can't see that we're bringing in, like, outside food. But the thing is, like, I feel like it's not good to immediately say that you're broke when you're on a date with somebody, especially, like, the guy, like, not to sound bad, but, like, I think, in my opinion, I think guys should pay for the date, at least the first date. Like, in my opinion, it's weird to, like, immediately say that you, like, want to take the cheap route or that you can't afford movie theater snacks. Remember how I said earlier that, like, the only detail I really knew about this guy was what high school he went to, and, like, that was, like, the one piece of information that he, like, openly disclosed to me? Yeah, well, in this 3-minute drive to the gas station, literally 3 minutes, like, intro conversation, he's like, you know how I said I went to blah, blah, blah high school? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, well, I actually go to an alternative school. And I was like, so the first piece of information I have about you, you lied to me, and now you're telling me immediately, like, why even lie if you're gonna tell me immediately once I'm in your car? Like, what do you mean? We get to the gas station, we go inside, we buy candy, and I'm like,
any chance at the movie theater you can buy me a slushie? Because, like, obviously we can't sneak that in. And he's like, yeah, like, that's fine. We drive back to the movie theater, and then on the drive back, again, 3-minute drive, he decides to tell me while I'm in his car, and I'm already nervous, like, be in his car. Like, I don't know, I'm just anxious about it. He's like, by the way, I've totaled 3 cars. What do you mean you've totaled 3 cars? You got your license a year ago. Like, you're 17. Like, how does one total 3 cars in the span of maybe a year? So now the 2 pieces of information I have about him are that he's a liar and also that he's a bad driver. Like, this is not a good conversation to start off a date with. Oh, and also that he's broke. Broke, liar, bad driver. Also, we were watching a Marvel movie. It was the Endgame movie, okay? And, like, to enjoy Endgame, you kind of have to watch other Marvel movies to, like, understand the backstory. Because to my understanding, Marvel movies are very much so, like, a continuation off of the previous movie. So we're watching a movie that I literally nothing about. But don't worry, because I literally couldn't even watch the movie because he was talking the whole time. He put his hand on my leg, and, like, I like that. And he asked me if it was okay. Like, he asked for permission, he asked for consent, and, like, I thought that was really nice. Anyways, probably about half an hour into this movie, which was a pretty long movie if you've seen Endgame, half an hour in, he tells me that he used to have a problem with substances, which, not at all judging, that one genuinely, like, I've known plenty of people who are, like, sober and stuff, but he brought that up to me, and then, again, I'm, like, 16, I don't really know how to react, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so sorry, like, I'm so proud that you're, like, sober, and he's like, well, actually, I'm not sober, I just do it less, and I was like, right. He also tells me that he got kicked out of his parents' house, and then moved into an apartment, and then got evicted, and then moved back in with his parents. And again, like, there's not a problem with that. Like, I wouldn't judge somebody for that. It's more so the fact that you're pouring so much, like, trauma onto me in the first date. Like, this is my first time meeting you. I just personally think it's weird to trauma dump so much the first time that you meet somebody. Because, again, I'm not even judging that situation at all. Like, that's a hard situation to be in. Both of the 2 things that I just listed, hard situations to be in. It's just kind of an intense intro. Like, I'd rather get to know you as a person before I know a bunch of trauma about you, if that makes sense. Then we hit, like, the halfway point of the movie, like, roughly the halfway point, and I'm like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, and he's like, okay, like, are you coming back? And I was like, yes, I'll come back. I go to the bathroom, I call my mom, and I'm like, can you please pick me up? Like, I don't know, I have a weird feeling about this, like, the vibes are off, and she's like, did he do anything weird? And I was like, no, he's just, like, talking about weird stuff, and she's like, okay, like, just stick it out, like, don't leave him. And so I'm like, okay. I go back to the theater, we watch the rest of the movie, like, we were talking the whole time, which is fine because I didn't know anything about this movie. The movie ends, the lights are coming back on, and I can tell he's gonna kiss me, okay? And I hadn't kissed anybody when I was 16 yet. Like, I hadn't had, like, my first real kiss. Like, again, when I was younger, I'd, like, kiss people, I'd kiss girls, but I'd never kissed a guy before, and it was also, like, not as, like, a teenager. Like, I didn't have my real first kiss yet, and I, like, didn't want him to be my first kiss. And, like, also, I can understand why he thought the vibes were leaning towards that, because, like, we were, like, close and stuff, but, like, it's just different to kiss somebody than it is to, like, lay next to them. So he's doing the whole thing where he's like, you're really pretty, like, blah, 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 and he's looking at me like he's about to kiss me, and I was like, So then I get up and I'm like, thanks so much, and, like, we're walking out, and then he grabs my face and he tries to kiss me, and I turn to the side so he kisses my cheek. Like, I'm embarrassed, like, I know. We're, like, out of the actual theater now and just in the lobby again, and I give him a hug and I'm like, thanks so much, like, and then he leaves, then my mom picks me up. I didn't go on another date for a while after that.
Let's do a story time on my first time talking to a girl. I've never talked to someone in a talking stage that was so toxic. Before I get into it, I used to be toxic and petty, and I told her all about it, but she low-key brought it out of me because how she was acting too, so I'm all like, alright. So, you know, I'm scrolling on TikTok around like 2 or 3 a.m. and there's nothing but studs on my For You page. I saw this one girl, I'm like, oh my gosh, she is genuinely so pretty. I liked her TikTok, didn't follow her, didn't view her stuff or nothing. I just kept on scrolling. Next day, I get a follow and a text from her. She called me fine and asked for my Instagram, and I gave her my Instagram. A couple days passed by, she doesn't text me or nothing. I hang out with my gay best friend, and I told him, let's do the trend where, like, you put your phone up, pretend like you're taking a photo of me, but I take a picture of you, you know, so, like, I could put them, like, together So it looks like we're both taking a picture of each other. Does that make sense? I don't know. So we didn't. I posted it. She stood up saying, stole my girl. And I told her, I'm like, you can't be saying that when you don't even talk to me. And I said, that's my best friend, by the way. And she was like, talking to pretty girls scare me. And I'm like, girl, goodbye. We're texting, and she asked my number for iMessage games. I gave her my number. We said like 5 words to each other on messages, and then she just stopped texting me. I'm gonna say it was like 10 to 15 hours, so she has not texted me at all. I am not the type to chase after you. If you don't want to text me, you don't have to text me. But for some reason, she was kind of like pulling my attention. So I texted her again. So I ended up texting the girl. I was like, so it's just like that. Not even a minute goes by, I get a phone call from her. She starts saying, I'm so sorry, that's my bad. I was busy. What are you doing? And I don't know, like just the way this girl was talking to me, I'm all like, she has me on giggly and stuff. I was on the phone with her for about like 15 minutes. Ever since the phone call, we've been getting closer and closer. Oh, and hold up. This girl lives nowhere near me. This girl lived in Cali. Oh, she lives in Cali. The reason why I kept on talking to her is because she told me she was supposed to move to Houston. I live in Fort Worth. Houston's like a 3 to 4 hour drive from me. Anyways, it was toxic to where like my phone keeps on falling, bro. So I kind of told her like I do go out here and there, but I only went out with my cousin, and I would go out not every weekend, but I went out with my gay best friend and our friend most of the time because we would go out to eat or go shopping or whatever. She definitely didn't like that, and I just told her like I'm not gonna change what I'm doing. Like, we're not to that serious point. It sounds so bad, but I don't know. We literally call every night. Like, I told her, like, I miss your voice. I love talking to you. Because I did, like, just something about her. I don't know if it's because she was my first, like, female or what. I didn't trust her from the start. She was definitely iffy. I told her, I'm all like, you're too friendly to these girls. And she called me friendly, but she would only call me friendly because she heard me on the phone talking to my co-workers, bro. Like, I would call this girl during my breaks and lunch, and I told her, I was like, of course I'm going to be friendly towards my co-workers. I work with them. Like, I'm not going to change my attitude, my tone, just because. Sometimes I just gave up on her. I was like, you know what? You do you. Your actions are definitely going to speak louder than your words. Like, I don't even care no more. I'm not gonna lie, I did have my like little crush out moments. We would literally argue over the phone. I mean, like, I would cry because I was so mad. She would definitely ruin my night when I would go out. She would not, whenever she was mad at me, she would ignore me for a whole day. I told her to stop doing that because that just like makes me lose interest. Like, you need to chill with that. I could tell that she was kind of like messing up my mental health. So I did let her know, like, I don't know what you're doing to me. You need to stop. We're on month 2 of talking. Yes, month 2 of talking. Around this time, I had surgery. So I had more time to talk to her than usual. But little did I know that she was going on a cruise. I told her what was going to happen. I'm like, girl, you know what that means. Like, you're gonna do whatever the fuck you wanna do, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm telling her, I'm like, if you do anything, just let me know, bro. Like, I just want you to tell me. Like, be honest with me instead of lying. She was telling me, you're the only girl I want. I want you. I only want you. You're the only person I see. And I called bullshit. She had bought Wi-Fi while on the cruise just to talk to me. There would be some times where I was not able to talk to her. Yes, I wasn't working, but I was sleeping. Or, I forgot what else I would be doing. She would get mad that I didn't answer her. Like, girl, what? I told her, stay off your phone, have fun on the cruise, bro. Like, just have fun. But no, she wanted to think about me and just text me and whatnot. Specifically, there was this one time I was on the call with my mama. She was mad, so she was blasting music. And the girl texted me. She's like, hey, can I call you? I was like, no, I'm in the car with my mom. She's like, you can't call me. I was like, no, like, she's blasting music, like, she's mad. And kid you not, we had an argument then and there. She's talking about some, I'm just trying to talk to you, you know, and you're acting like this. You realize I'm on a cruise. Like, I could get some cruise hugs if I want. I told her, I said, you know what? Do whatever the fuck you want. Like, I don't even give a fuck. Nobody's holding you back. And I surely, like, girl, we're done. I sent her a whole paragraph. She took hours to reply to me, and I was just so fucking done with it, bro. Ever since she was on the cruise, she was on it for a whole week, I just kind of gave up. The day she was coming back, she texted me. She was like, hey, I miss you. And then she was like, we need to talk. I was like, talk about what? I'm assuming we're done. She's like, why do you say that? I'm like, because, like, you're just acting different. And then she had called me. At this time, I was at my homegirl's house. And I was like, what's up? She's like, what are you doing? I said, oh, I'm at my homegirl's crib. Why, what's up? This is literally at, like, 2 or 3 p.m. And she's like, oh, all right. And then she hangs up on my face. I'm like, bro, like, I can't do nothing. I sent her a small paragraph. I'm all like, hey, I don't know why you hung up on me like that. I just hope you feel well. Like, I hope your ankle gets better, because she had her ankle. And I wish you the best. Next thing you know, I saw her Instagram note saying, cruise hugs is a thing. As soon as I saw that, I went to the messages, blocked her, deleted her number, blocked her on everything, Instagram, TikTok, everything, Snapchat as well. But recently, I've been thinking about this girl, and I unblocked her. Just not on messages, though. It's just Instagram and TikTok. So that's my experience. I've never had, like, an in-person type experience. So it was just all online. I was actually kind of hoping this girl came to Houston, so I at least would have saw her, bro. Like, I was actually committed to this girl. I wanted to commit to this girl, and I never wanted to commit to someone so bad, but her. She definitely got in my head for sure.
Okay, so something really weird happened to me at the store earlier, and I just want to know if this has happened to anybody else. I was down the Christmas aisle at Kroger, and it was just me and this other lady on the aisle, and then this elderly lady kind of came around the corner, and she got a little close to me, and that's what made me kind of look at her, because I'm like hyper vigilant. Like, usually I'm pretty aware of my surroundings. And so she kind of gets a little close to me, kind of rolls her cart by me. And then she, like, turns and looks at me, and I'm already noticing she doesn't have anything in her cart. And then I start looking around after she says, can I ask you something? I'm like, yeah, of course. Like, and I don't know why as a society, she was an older lady, right? But it's like, to me, these bad people, okay, these bad groups of people, they're starting to use children and older ladies, people that are unsuspecting. And so it's like, who can you trust? Like, I want to have a conversation with this lady, right? So anyway, I'm backpedaling. So she stops and she said, can I ask you a question? And I was like, sure. But before I gave her my undivided attention, I look around, I check my surroundings. Is anybody coming up behind me? Is anybody on either side of the aisle? Do I see anybody on the other aisles, like anywhere close? I'm looking around, and then I look at her and I'm like, yeah, what's going on? And she said, do you know where the Christmas cards are? And they were literally like on the other aisle, on the next aisle. And again, she had nothing in her cart. And I was like, yeah, I think, they're on the aisle next to us. And she said, okay, thank you so much. And she's still looking at me, and I'm looking at her. And I'm like, you're so welcome. And I'm looking around, checking my surroundings again. My purse is right there. My hand's on my purse. And then she starts saying, oh, you are so kind. And then she goes into oh my goodness, you are so beautiful. And I'm like, oh, thank you. And in my mind, I'm like, Chelsea, it's just a compliment. Just take the compliment. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, red flags are going up. And I'm like, for what, Chelsea? She's just giving you a compliment. Like, take the compliment and go. Anyway, she walks off, and I make eye contact with the other lady. And she just looks at me, and immediately I'm like, I know what she's thinking. Like, girl, that was weird. It was a little bit weird. It's like making compliments to people in public in and of itself isn't weird, right? I'm like, Chelsea, you're in your head. Get out of your head. Keep doing what you're doing. Just, keep going. So I start walking down the aisle, and I start getting this tingly feeling on the tip of my tongue. And I'm like, that's weird. And I start feeling a little funny. And I'm like, okay, that's really weird. And then my nose starts burning. And I'm like, what's going on? And I start replaying in my head. I'm like, did she hand me anything? Did I touch anything? I start replaying everything. I'm like, am I in danger? And I start looking around, and I'm like, I've got to calm down, because if I do not assess the situation appropriately, I'm going to freak out. And so I go to self-checkout. I know my husband's waiting for me in the car. But in my mind, I was like, I need to leave now. I need to get out of here. And so I text him, and I'm like checking out, and I check out my stuff. And I'm walking out the doors, and this man's walking behind me. And I'm noticing him, I'm seeing him, and he kind of, I'd say he's like 6 feet behind me. And he sees that I'm not crossing the street to go to the parking lot. So he goes behind one of the pillars, and he just stands there. And my husband pulls up and picks me up, and I get in the car, and the guy's still standing there. He's not going anywhere. He's not going to the parking lot. And so we have to go. By this time, I'm still feeling funny. Sorry. By this time, I'm still feeling funny. And I'm just sitting there in the car, and I'm just like, I don't know what just happened. We have to go down to GameStop, which is like a couple of stores. This is like a shopping center. So it's in the same shopping center. And so we go down there. I go in there. I'm still feeling off, but the burning in my nose and the tingling in my tongue went away. And I get what I need in GameStop. And I go back to the car, and we had backed into a parking spot. And so I'm sitting in the passenger seat. My husband decided he wanted to go into GameStop. So he went into GameStop, and while he was in there, I see a car drive in front of us, and they drive past us. But I noticed something very interesting. That older lady was in the passenger seat of this car. And there was a man driving that car. And then there were 3 men in the back seats of that car. And one of the men looked like the man that followed me outside. And so I'm like, I'm still trying to rationalize it in my head. Like, surely not. Surely not. But I don't know for sure. It was definitely weird. And I don't know how to explain like what I felt and how she would have, I don't know. Like, you hear of these stories of people like drugging cards and handing you a card, and now it's, you know what I mean? And people getting drugged that way. It's very possible, but she didn't hand me anything. She got a little close to me, but she didn't touch me. I would have known that. So I don't know. Does anybody else have any ideas of what I just experienced? And if you have anything similar, like, I would love to know, because I don't know what happened today. Anyway, you guys, y'all need to be safe. And if you do not have your LCC, okay, license to carry, ladies, get it, because the world is, it's getting worse, and it's going to continue to get worse. Okay. So just protect yourselves. Be vigilant. Stay off your phones, okay? Stay off your phones. Look around. What's going on? What do people have? Are they getting too close to you? Like, stay vigilant, okay? I don't care if people think that you are paranoid. I would much rather be paranoid and be fully aware of my surroundings than to just be like, doo-doo-doo. You know? Don't be like that. Y'all be safe. I love you. Bye.
Oh, Lord. I'm sorry. I'm just in a silly, goofy mood.
Let's get ready to go to Planet Fitness because one of the employees violated my privacy. So let's talk about it while I get ready. So I go to the same Planet Fitness. I've been going to the same location of Planet Fitness consistently 3 to 4 days a week since July. Okay. And yesterday I went to Planet Fitness like normal, and after I got home I had gotten a text message from a phone number I did not have saved, and they're like, hey, what's up, were you at Planet Fitness today? And I was like, was this someone that I used to like talk to and I like deleted their number? Like, who is this? Because how did they know that I was just at Planet Fitness? So I'm like, oh, like, who's this? And they're like, oh, I saw you at Planet Fitness before I could ask for your phone number, but my friend said that he had it. And I was like, who's your friend? And he said, Paul. And I was like, the only Paul I know is my fucking stepdad, and he's at home watching hockey, having a drink. So, like, this is weird. Not a lot of people have my phone number, and I have no idea who that is. So, like, how do they have my phone number? And he was just like, yeah, like, I know that it's weird. He was like, but he said he had your number or whatever. And I was just like, yeah, like, that's really weird. Like, I can't even fucking lie. Like, I'm not really, like, fucking with that. And then he was like, oh, like, what side of town do you live on or whatever? And then he again said, yeah, I just don't, like, I don't know how my friend had your number. And I was just like, this is weird. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, there's only 2 ways that this could have gone down. Either he works at the Planet Fitness or his homeboy doesn't. His homeboy pulled up my public information and gave him my phone number, both of which are horrible options. So I'm like, fuck it. I text him and I'm like, do you work at the Planet Fitness? He goes, yeah, how'd you know? Because you're not very fucking smart. Mind you, I'd asked the guy for his Instagram because I'm like trying to see what he looked like to see if I recognized him, because I'm not like oblivious. Like, I'm a woman. I know what happens. Like, I pay attention to my surroundings. Any fucking pictures on his Instagram, and I straight up told him like, oh, like, you don't have any pictures on your Instagram. Like, I'm trying to see what you look like to see if I recognize you. And he was just like, yeah, I don't be posting like that. I don't know how my friend had your number. And I was just like, oh, well, like, if you see me again at the gym, like, just don't be fucking weird. Just come say fucking hi. Mind you, this was before I knew that he worked there. And then that's when I started to think, no, like, I think that this dude works here and knows someone that works here. So then that's when I asked if he worked there. And he said he did, and asked how I knew. And then I stopped answering after that because I'm like, dude, like, what the fuck? Like, you went into my profile and got like my private information. That means you could also see my address. So I stopped answering after that, and he kept texting me. He was like, oh, he first said, yeah, how'd you know? And then he was like, oh, like, how did you know this? Like, I'm confused, sending question marks. And then he was like, he started backpedaling. He was like, but yeah, I don't know how my friend had your number. And I'm like, dude, you just admitted that you worked there. Like, I'm putting 2 and 2 together. Like, you don't have a friend. Like, the fuck? So I started freaking out, as one woman does whose information was and privacy was violated. And yeah, he kept texting me, and then he eventually fucking stopped. But I didn't want to say anything to him because, like, I am really afraid of, like, retaliation. Like, if this dude does know where I fucking live, like, you know, like, I don't know, like, I am not the type to think the worst about people, but when you're a woman in this world, you kind of have to sometimes. You can't always be giving people the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, so right now, I called the Planet Fitness earlier. It wasn't him who answered, I made sure, because I, like, know this dude's name, and the dude who answered wasn't the same, but anyways, and yeah, so their manager should be in around 8, and I'm gonna go in person. and talk to them about it and show all the proof that I have. But I'm just like, dude, like, I'm supposed to feel safe at my gym. Like, I'm not supposed to fucking be worried that one of the employees is gonna access my fucking private file and pull up my fucking private information. Like, what the fuck? Like, dude, like, what are you doing? Like, I've seen him a handful of times, so he knows I go there consistently. So I don't understand why he didn't just spark up a conversation like a normal person if he wanted to get my number. Like, did you think that I was just like, what did you think was gonna happen? Like, did you think that I was just gonna be like, oh, like, your friend's so great for giving you my number and I have no idea who your friend is? Like, I really want to know how this dude thought he was gonna, like, bring this shit home, like, get any sleep, because I was freaked out the entire fucking night. So yeah, so probably by the time I post this, because I'm not gonna post it until I actually, like, go down there and talk to them about it. But yeah, I'm planning on canceling my Planet Fitness membership because I'm just not fucking with that, and I'm gonna ask for a refund at least of this month's membership because I did not pay to have my privacy violated. And yeah, so now I'm gonna have to start going to another gym, which fucking sucks because I do really like Planet Fitness. I liked that it was empty. I liked that nobody was ever there. And it's just like more my vibe of people. And I just felt more comfortable there originally. Posting this because I hope that someone doesn't do a mistake as dumb as him, because I'm not worth his fucking job, because he's probably gonna lose his job. Like, I'm gonna be very surprised if he doesn't. I'm not worth losing your job. So I hope that if someone else sees this and they have a crush on someone that comes into their job, dude, just make conversation. Say hi. How's your day? You look great. You look beautiful. Don't be fucking weird. It's a hell of a lot weirder to do this than to try and spark a conversation with someone. One, don't be afraid to say something. Speak up, okay? Like, I was really scared. I am still, frankly, very fucking scared to go and do this right now. Because like I said, retaliation. This dude could know where I fucking live. But closed mouths don't get fed. So eyebrows are always like distant cousins that have been like twice removed. I don't even ever think that they've ever been in the same family, to be honest. I'm like low-key kind of nervous. I don't know why. I didn't do anything wrong. I hate like conflict, and yeah. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm about to be walking into the gym in fucking jeans and a fucking sweater. Like, honestly though, I've seen people work out at that gym in jeans and a sweater, so actually it's not that weird, but I don't really like confrontation like that. And like, even though he's in the wrong, like, I'm getting someone in trouble, and like the people pleaser in me is like screaming about that right now. But again, he did something wrong, violated a lot of shit. Well, obviously just getting my number, but you understand the point. Right, let's go. Again, don't be dumb. Just called. I'm about to leave. I'm just loading my fucking dishwasher. But I called and I spoke to the manager and I told him the situation and that I'd like to come down and speak to him about it and show him proof. And he goes, wait, are you? And says another woman's name. And I'm like, no. I don't think I'm the first woman that this dude has fucking done this to. What the? Alright, so I just got done talking to them. They were very sweet, very respectful. They took it very, very seriously. And I sent them all the proof and everything. Yeah, I don't believe that I'm the first girl to come at least forward about this. So, and I told them I'm not comfortable going to the gym if he works there, obviously, and I'm not quite sure if I like want to move forward with having like a membership. And you know, they were just like apologetic. I mean, it's not their fault. There's only so much that like they can say to like comfort me. But yeah, they took down all my information. Obviously they have to take care of stuff internally. They said that they would reach out to me either today or Monday, because obviously today is Friday, and like let me know kind of what the verdict is. And then I blocked the guy on messages and Instagram once, you know, I had sent them all the proof and everything. So yeah, this was like a really sucky situation, but I'm really thankful that like the managers here, like, they sympathized, and like the manager had asked like, are you okay? Like,
that I genuinely appreciate how they took care of it and like validating my feelings, and so I'm very grateful that they took it as seriously as I felt like it was. So we'll just see what happens, but don't be dumb. No girl is worth your job. Don't be a creep. Be normal and just say hi. Jesus.
That is disgusting. Give it to me now.
Let's get ready to go to Planet Fitness because one of the employees violated my privacy. So let's talk about it while I get...
Alright, so today, Saturday, the incident occurred on Thursday, and I am getting ready to go to the police station and file a police report. I'm nervous, so let's go. Alright, I just got here. I'm nervous as fuck. But closed mouse, don't get fed. So, I apparently can't file a police report unless he threatens my life. So even though I called 311 yesterday and told them the situation, they told me I could come here and file a police report. And the lady at the front, when I walked in, I told her I wanted to file a police report. She asked why, and I told her that an employee at the gym Planet Fitness accessed my personal records and has been texting me for personal reasons. And she said that unless he's threatened my life, all I can do is either call 311 or 911 if he shows up at my home, or I can file a restraining order with the court, and that's it. So, I'm frustrated. So I'm gonna call Planet Fitness's corporate office tomorrow, or on Monday. They're closed on weekends and they were closed on Friday. So I'm gonna call on Monday and probably send an email as well. It just sucks that like I can't like do anything to like protect myself. And I reached out to 4 different lawyer offices, all in which I made sure handled cases in which my case would be considered, and all 4 denied free consultation or denied representation. So just a little frustrated because I'm scared and I'm trying to like do everything I can, and it's just not. So we will see what happens on Monday.
A week ago today, an employee at my local Planet Fitness decided it would be a good idea to invade my privacy and go into my private file and grab my private information, grab my phone number, and text me for personal use. So let's talk about what's happened in the week.
So first, I just want to say I'm so sorry to everyone and anyone that has ever gone through anything like this. Side note, if you do not think that what he did is weird and you would be okay with it, that is completely okay. What I'm okay with and what someone else is going to be okay with is not always going to be the same. Just don't sit here and tell people what they should and shouldn't be comfortable with. But for anyone that has gone through what I was going through and was not okay with it like I was not okay with it, I'm really sorry. It's not okay. It's not okay. It's a breach in privacy, so speak up. I understand it's scary. Trust me, I'm fucking scared. I was not expecting that video to reach over 800,000 views. Never in my life would I had thought that that is what would have came from it, but I'm glad that my situation can maybe set an example and give someone else the confidence to speak up and protect themselves, because what he did is not okay. And if it happens, say something. So the incident happened on Thursday. On Friday was when I posted my video, and I had gone into the Planet Fitness. I had reported it to the manager at that specific location that the incident occurred with. He told me I would hear back from them probably on Monday because of HR stuff, and obviously it was a Friday, the weekend, whatever. And so that happened, and then on Saturday morning, I decided to go down to my police station, and I asked to fill out a police report. They denied the ability for me to be able to do that, so that really sucked.
prior to going into the police station, I had called 311 to ask if it was something I could file a police report about. And they said, yes, 100%, but you can't do it online since you know the specific name of the person and because you have like picture proof of stuff, and they can't do police reports over the phone because they're not police officers, I guess, or something to that kind of effect. So I was told that I could go into the police station and fill out a police report. When I was denied the ability to be able to do that, I did end up recalling 311. Obviously it was a different dispatcher, and she was like, I'm really sorry, I have no idea why they're telling you that you can't, but unfortunately if they're telling you that you can't, then you unfortunately can't. She was like, just be vigilant. She was like, I'm really sorry, like there's only so much she can do, because obviously she wasn't the one telling me I couldn't fill out the police report. So that kind of really freaking sucked. So that happened on Saturday. Sunday, nothing happened. And then on Monday, I got a call from my home gym, Planet Fitness. So the location I had been going to wasn't actually my home gym. At my home gym, had called me, and she was very, very nice. She was like, I'm so sorry, super apologetic, very understanding. She was like, you know, this is definitely not okay. This is not something that we do. I'm so sorry, like woman to woman, like this is totally not okay. Like you're being so nice about it. She was like, it is at a corporate level. They are doing an investigation. She was like, I did see your TikTok, corporate saw your TikTok as well. I had told her that I was already planning on sending an email to corporate to let them know the situation, and I was CCing 2 different email addresses in it as well. And she was like, go ahead and send that email. She goes, not a problem at all. I resent over her specifically the proof of screenshots and everything like that. And she said that I would hear back from her. She was like, you know, like, what can we do to make you feel more comfortable? And I had found out that he had been fired. He had been fired that Friday, I believe. So he was fired on Friday, and I told her, I was like, look, like, I understand this can happen anywhere with any company, not just gyms. This can happen anywhere to anybody at any time. I was like, but I unfortunately am going to have to cancel my membership because I no longer feel comfortable, specifically because the manager had disclosed to me, the manager at that specific location had disclosed to me that another woman had come forward and made a complaint about him, and he was allowed to continue to work there, and then was then given the opportunity to do this to me. And he could have done this to another woman who hasn't come forward and said anything. So, and she was like, oh, and I was like, because of that, I'm going to have to cancel my membership. Like, I'm sorry. And she was like, obviously, like, I completely understand. She goes, as a woman, you need to do what you feel will make you feel safe. She was very understanding. So I already canceled my membership. She said that I would be hearing from her again. I have not. I did call back. I guess she was off on Tuesday, I believe was when I called back. And I haven't heard anything since. I was going to ask for a refund of my subscription, or my membership, not my subscription, of my membership, because I did not pay to have my rights violated. I'm still waiting to hear back. I never got an email back from corporate. I will read part of my email though. So this was my email to corporate, to the gym that the incident occurred at, and my home gym. This is only part of it. It was a lengthy, yeah. This interaction made me feel uncomfortable and concerned about my privacy and safety. I also wanted to disclose that a TikTok video discussing this experience on December 12, 2025, which has since received over 500,000 views. While my intent was to share my experience, honestly, the widespread attention further highlights the seriousness of the situation and the impact it has on me as a member and a person, as well as brought to light just how often this occurs at multiple different Planet Fitnesses across the US. I cannot express to you how many people I had DMing me, or how many people I had commenting saying that this happened to them at a Planet Fitness specifically. That is not okay. Obviously, other gyms were mentioned, but the gym that was mentioned the most was Planet Fitness, which is really, really sad because I loved Planet Fitness. I loved the layout. I loved the equipment. It was never busy. It was very clean. I loved Planet Fitness, and my social anxiety, yeah, having to go to a new gym has honestly really, really sucked, and it's really frustrating that a situation like this is ruining my experience. It's not stopping me from going to the gym, but it's just a really sucky situation. But I truly believe everything happens for a reason, and maybe this needed to happen to me to maybe help someone else who sees my video and help them speak up if they're in a similar situation or they're in a worse situation. So it is what it is. I did say that I spoke to the manager about it. And I said I also want to note that when I went into the gym to speak to the manager at this location about the situation, it was mentioned to me that another woman had previously made a similar complaint regarding this individual. This raised serious concerns for me, as I am unsure why this matter was not addressed at the time and why further action was not taken to prevent this happening, and why this employee was continuing to work for your company. I want to be clear that my intentions in reporting this is not to create conflict, but to ensure that proper policies are followed and that other members do not experience something similar. I believe this matter should be reviewed internally and that appropriate action and or training be taken if necessary. This is not something that should be happening this often. Please let me know if you need any additional information, and I would appreciate confirmation that this complaint has been received and the information on the next steps in addressing this matter. Haven't been told anything. Already canceled my membership. I'm already signed up with a new gym. Not a fan of it, but I'm making it work because I'm not going to let a man stop me from going to the gym. He's stopping me from going to that specific gym. It's been a crazy whirlwind of things, and hearing everyone's stories have honestly made me really sick. Like, this is not okay. And again, if you think that this is okay, good for you. I did have a lot of people telling me that I should be flattered that he did this and that I'm doing too much. I'm not here to ruin his reputation or ruin the reputation of the gym. That's specifically why I did not mention the specific location, and I do not plan to, and I will not be mentioning his name. He did it twice or however many times. I still believe a person can make a mistake. I'm not here to ruin his life. If he truly did make a mistake, and maybe he is a good person and maybe he just had a lapse in judgment a couple of times, I'm not here to ruin his life, and I'm not here to ruin the reputation of that gym. I loved that gym. All the other employees there were very, very sweet. There's no reason for a singular person to ruin everyone else's reputation. I'm just not that kind of person. That's not what I'm looking for, and that's not what the other employees at that gym deserve. So that will not be mentioned. I'm sorry to the people that want to know which location it was at, but find peace in knowing that that employee was fired. So any location you go to, he's not gonna be there. So find peace in that, I guess. Yeah. Last thing, to everyone making fun of my language or the way that I spoke in that last video, I had really bad anxiety. This guy had my address, okay? I did not know if he knew. I did not know if he was fired. I did not know if he was gonna be showing up at my house. I could not sleep. I did not sleep. So I'm making this video where I'm extremely nervous to be talking about something, where I'm scared that people are not going to believe me or it's going to be downplayed exactly like how it was in my comments. Excuse me. And I was also multitasking, which is why I'm not multitasking in this video, because I can't do it, and I will say like and a lot. So if you ever want to get really drunk, watch my original video and take a shot every time I say like. Anyways, again, I appreciate everyone who reached out to me, everyone who gave me advice, and I just hope that I helped someone gain the confidence to speak up if they were going through something like this. So